Well, along with the TCB 100, our editorial team spends a whole lot of time thinking about our Person of the Year. This is an honor that represents outstanding, even transformative leadership within a company or organization and beyond. As many of you know, this award has gone to a fair number of Fortune 500 CEOs. Very talented, accomplished leaders, all of them. But this year, we really wanted to look beyond Fortune 500s and think about someone who the CEOs themselves are turning to for advice, for thinking about the future of work and culture and community and inclusion for a new generation. Tawanna Black is a leader whom the editors of Twin Cities Business have turned to time and again this year, and we know we are hardly alone. Many, many companies and organizations in Minnesota have gone to Tawanna's Center for Economic Inclusion for advice, for her measurement tools, for help in really planning and strategizing how we make meaningful change. And her work is being recognized around the country. People from all over are now calling to make use of the Center for Economic Inclusion's assessment tools, which Tawanna and her team have developed. For her leadership, for her expertise, for her tireless work towards building economic growth and inclusive workplaces in Minnesota and beyond, it is my great honor to welcome to the stage TCB's 2021 Person of the Year, Tawanna Black. Well, that's quite a squad.
It is quite a squad. The best squad ever, I must admit.
Indeed. Well, congratulations.
Thank you so much, and a big thank you not only to you and the TCB, but also to all of the folks who play a role in this, and a big congratulations to the entire TCB 100. What a phenomenal list. I don't know that there's anything to say after all that's been said on the screen.
Oh, come on.
Honestly.
You know, the one thing that I didn't say, and I sort of wrestled with as I was putting my thoughts together, I didn't mention that you are the second woman to be recognized as a Person of the Year. Last year we had Beth Ford. Last year we needed 3 because it was such a ridiculous year. So we had 3 people of the year, and Beth Ford was one of them. But you are the first woman of color. And, you know, I have to say that, you know, of course it's worth saying, but I also feel like I can't believe, you know, why are we just saying that now? It's a first, it's not, it's a beginning. But I know that you deal with this all the time. You are probably the first in a lot of things you do and roles you play. How do you reconcile that, and how do you feel about it right now?
You know, it's a question that, as the announcement came out, it's one of the things that friends and peers ask that, like, hey, Tawanna, wait a minute. Are you the first? Are you the first woman? Are you the first woman of color? Are you the first founder? Like, let's go through the list. And I have to say, while I take great honor and humility in that, I think it's one of those things where women in my shoes, people of color, African American people, we take the pride and also the pain that comes with that, where we want to get to the point where there aren't any more firsts, where we're not celebrating the first, and we are done shattering the ceilings. We've shattered enough ceilings, and where we're not doing the first because we've recognized that talent is displayed. Talent comes in all forms. It's opportunity that we really have to get to the point of distributing equitably.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We've seen a lot of companies in this past year make commitments to hiring, commitments to giving, commitments to training. I'm really curious, you work with a lot of them, you advise a lot of them. Are you seeing enough? Do you feel good about what's happening?
You know, I don't know that given the depths of inequity, given the depths of disparity that are not just experienced today, but that are rooted in history and systems, that we could ever say it's enough, because 1 or 2 years worth of even dramatic change won't begin to undo generations of inequity that are rooted in our systems, right, our rules and policies. So no is the short answer. That said, often the question is, do we feel progress is happening? And that answer is yes, right? Companies are taking forward action, positive action every day. More people are waking up and saying, wait a minute, this is more than just a program that's needed or a new strategy or an initiative that's necessary, but I actually personally have to take responsibility and accountability for how I go about changing my business, and we're seeing more of that. Now we have to multiply it. And to the notes that I heard in so many of the 100s responses, we have to do that together and hold each other accountable every day inside our organizations to say, did we do enough today? And how do we know that? Do we have measurements of that articulated by the very people who've been excluded from opportunity in our organizations and our communities? Have they told us that it's enough? And can they articulate it in their lives? And then we'll know, in fact, that it truly has been enough because they can feel it in their lives in the very toughest moments of our economy.
This is, I know people probably pay you the big bucks to help them with this, but if you can just give us like a piece of advice for the retention piece of it. I think hiring is one thing, and we all jump to talk about hiring and more firsts within more companies, but that's not enough. We know that what it really comes down to is retention and changing culture within a workplace so that it's sustained, the changes that we're making now. How the heck do we do that? And how do we do it in the Twin Cities, which is having, regional challenges of its own beyond the workplace?
Absolutely. Well, retention, as we all know, really does come down to culture, and almost every business that our team goes into, and I have to pause to just give a shout out to the Center for Economic Inclusion team that's in the room. While it's my face on the screen, this really is about the team CEI that is so amazing and powerful, not only our staff, but our amazing board and investors. Thank you for all that you do. But when this team goes into businesses, so many businesses say, culture eats strategy for lunch. But that culture is often those unwritten rules, those things that we know, but we don't speak about. And for us, we use FSG's conditions of systems change, which talk about power. It talks about resource flows. It talks about those unwritten relationships that we have, that I can get to know you, but I know you a little bit better. And so you and I have some codes that we don't even have to say to one another because we just know them when we look at each other. But you and I, we don't really know each other that well. And so I give that nod, and you don't really know what that means. You think maybe you know, but you don't know. And so you leave the meeting like, okay, wait a minute, is somebody going to tell me what that head nod meant? Where do I get that? I go to the intranet and I try to look it up, but it's not there, and then I'm new, so I'm scared to ask, and. What we get to with retention is when we start to break those things down in our systems that keep people from ever knowing the unwritten rules of the game that have been written by people, sometimes generations ago, but sometimes months ago, to work for some of us and to not work for others of us. Sometimes intentionally, sometimes unintentionally, but when they've been written by people who look the same and act the same and were raised by people who knew the rules, who were raised by people who knew the rules, it just perpetuates itself. And sometimes we get caught up in thinking, well, I didn't mean to exclude. No, but when you were brought up in cultures of people who knew the business, they knew the business. And they were raised by people who knew the business, who were raised by people who knew the business. And so it just continues to perpetuate itself, and we have to break that down. And sometimes business is moving so quickly. Somebody mentioned the supply chain issues. We have so many challenges and so many barriers that it's hard. And I'll admit, even for my team, we get calls from businesses who want to solve all these isms in 6 months. 6 months. And that's hard. Even tonight, you're sitting thinking, okay, faster, give us the answer faster, Tawanna. It doesn't happen fast, folks. The Twin Cities won't solve these culture issues fast. So if we want to be the best region in the country, we have to both have an urgency about solving it and a patience with culture, an urgency about action, and a patience about relationship building, an urgency about accountability, and a patience about undoing those cultures that we've built over so much time.
Wow. This is why she's the person of the year, you guys. In January, the Center for Economic Inclusion is introducing a new assessment tool called the Racial Equity Dividends Index. Did I get that right?
You did indeed.
Tell us a little bit, can you give us a little preview of what that's going to do?
I can. One of the things that we heard from businesses last year and coming into this year was this constant desire to understand, where am I on the most important standards? There are a lot of things you can measure. But of those most important standards of performance, where am I? Where's my business? And where am I compared to my peers? And how do I know what I can start to take action on today? Not next year, but today. And so we've developed an index that helps businesses start to understand on those most important measures and standards. Where are you, and where are you against those peers? And so we'll release that index in January. Some of that information is available on our site right now, and businesses will be able to register with our team. You can go to the site right now. Some of the leaders of that are in the room tonight. Michael, who leads that division, and Andrea, who partners with that team, are right in the room right now. They can wave. You can find them over here in this area generally. But they are in the room and can help businesses start to understand. It's about 35 measures that are the most important for businesses who want to take action in talent and supplier diversity, in culture, and then get help from our team once they take those measures and start to move forward in their businesses.
Fantastic. That's really exciting. Beyond that, beyond the index, I know you have a never-ending to-do list. You're one of the busiest people I know. What are your biggest goals or just big dreams for 2022? Do you allow yourself to make that to-do list?
I'm a founder. I'm always dreaming. Not only about the center, but spending time with that amazing family that you saw over here to the left just a little bit ago is one of those dreams. And in addition to that, the center is a team of dreamers and doers. And so one of our focus areas, while we do a lot of work with government agencies and with businesses, I see our clients over here, Gillette, to the right. And so I'm excited to spend more time with our businesses and our clients in the next year. We're dreaming about the ability to really take on public policy in an even more deep way in 2022, both state policy and local and regional policy with our partners in the region. But we're also focused on the disruption that we make with Black and brown business owners into the coming year. And we think it's important to not only disrupting the systems we have, but creating new economic engines in our Black and brown communities. And so you'll see us in 2022 working directly with business owners to invest capital directly in those businesses that can create jobs in our economy. We know that small businesses are the greatest economic engine, not only now, but in history. And we know that Black and Latino women are creating some of the biggest businesses in our country. But then in Minnesota, we have a great opportunity to invest even more deeply. So you'll see us investing deeply in those businesses and working with corporations to ensure that many of those supply chain commitments that were made last year and early 2021, that we have a real opportunity to make sure those come to life.
Right. I think that's what we're trying to see right now, right? Like all of these promises that were made. What do we really? Where do we go?
Absolutely.
From here? Yeah. Let's turn it into action and sustained action. Well, Tawanna, thank you so much for going on this ride with us. It's been such a joy just to get to know you a little bit, and such a thrill, really, to move forward and to move Person of the Year forward and start thinking about what that really means in all different shapes and forms, and how all the different ways that you can influence business and
Thank you so much.
Yeah, congratulations. Tawanna, of course, is our cover star of our December-January issue. We have some copies here tonight for a sneak peek. They're going out to subscribers this week, and we will have the issue online so that you can see the digital edition too. The TCB 100 story is going to go live moments after we leave here at tcbmag.com, so you can find yourselves and share and congratulate everybody on the list. And of course, read Burl Gilliard's beautiful profile story on Tawanna. Thank you again.
Thanks so much, Hallie.
While I have your attention, and I must say, you've all been very well behaved. And I'm giving all the credit to Tawanna. This is the quietest group we've ever had. Nobody listened to Brian Cornell a few years ago, I swear. Everybody talked. So thank you all. While I have your attention, I just want to invite you all to think about a business or a nonprofit that is deserving of recognition in our Community Impact Awards. The Center for Economic Inclusion was one of our honorees this year, and I'm sure you know a business or a charitable group that is making a difference. We're accepting nominations now, and we would really invite you to share your contenders. We're also excited to think about a few more in-person events in 2022. Our Women of the Year event returns to the stage in April. That's an event that generally sells out by February, so keep watching your emails and be sure to sign up sooner rather than later. We'll also have our Manufacturing Excellence Awards coming up in just a matter of weeks. You can find out about those and more at tcbmag.com/events. Thanks once again to our sponsors, St. Mary's and U.S. Bank. We so appreciate your support in making this all possible, and of course your support of Tawanna and the Center for Economic Inclusion. Thank you all for being here. Thanks for making this an awesome place to live and work and do business, even on a bitter cold night. I feel so inspired and excited about being here and about what we're all going to do in 2022. Happy holidays, everybody. On behalf of Twin Cities Business, thank you so much for joining us. Stick around, network, enjoy the evening.